comes up and they want Melanie to sign off on this, could it be something that would affect them down the road? And they're trying to protect their own assets.
Maybe so. Maybe so. You know, I don't know, Paulette, but maybe so.
Unreal. It's insane. You know, somebody just needs to, you know what? One side or the other just needs to say, okay, you know, we're going to just sign off on this and let's just go on this. This is getting ridiculous now.
I can't agree with you more. Paulette, I'll be honest with you. When we started seeing the first delays, I started thinking Wells was getting cold feet. But then, you know, I'd hear from Kevin that he talked with him and that wasn't the case. And then in every conversation with Stuart Rosenthal, it's certainly not that. It's, no, we're ready to go, we're ready to go, we're ready to go, we're ready to go. And I go, well, then let's go. Let's go, let's go. Come on, we're ready to go too.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, get the story out. I mean, it's been 2 years almost.
So, exactly. So, you know, I don't want to, you know, tattle on Stuart Rosenthal, but, I mean, the facts are what the facts are.
Right. It's not tattling, Hal. You know what? Like you just said, the facts are the facts. And you got to look at the bottom line and the end result. The end result is they're asking for an amendment on Melanie's end, and Melanie and her attorney are looking at this, and they're going, well, maybe we shouldn't sign it, or if we do, what are we going to get monetarily from this?
You're exactly
right. So now it's turning into this little game. It's just ridiculous.
You're exactly right. That's exactly it in a nutshell. So I think, you know, the ball is back in Wells' court. You know, do we pursue this, or do we try to force this amendment, or do we just go ahead and do this? And
so you haven't spoken to Melanie's attorney regarding where their thought process is with this?
His thought process is, I need to see the contract. That was his last, and twice he did this. And I wrote back, you know, it's irrelevant that you would see the contract. And he went, well, you're asking us to amend something, a contract that's already completed, and the bottom line is, before we do anything, that's what we'll demand that. So,
right. Well, amendments happen every day in contracts, in finalized contracts. Amendments happen every day. That's what that's why they're allowed to happen, because it's an amendment.
Well, attempts to amend, but both parties have to agree to it. So that's the thing.
Right, and that's the problem that we're having here.
That's right. What if they never agree? We're back to one or two decisions has to be made by Wells. Do it without Melanie, which has been my vote from the beginning.
And then can Melanie sue them?
Maybe that's what they're worried about.
She can't sue Melanie. She can't sue them for it. There's nothing to sue for. She's got her information. She's got her documentary. I don't know why.
I'm just trying to figure out in my head, what is the conflict between a major motion picture and a little documentary about a man's life changing and a government having a conflict or a problem in the system that would allow the feds to go on Facebook and say, that's our guy. The letter went through the mail, and it says, I'm Casey. So they go out to the Elvis impersonator. They hear the name Elvis, and then it gets, oh, my God, notoriety all over the world. And then it gets the attention of a director, people in Hollywood. Then the documentary locals are going, we want to put this on the map. We're a local company. Let's do something and get our name out there. It'll be big. We'll make a lot of money on it.
The only legal thing that I can think is, let's say Wells and them come in and they do some sort of fictionalization or whatever, and maybe it does something to harm her documentary. Maybe they're trying to just kind of protect themselves by her taking out the fictionalization part of her contract. Therefore, they can go forward freely with the fictionalization part. And she can't say, well, you know, claim any harm. I don't know.
So maybe they're looking at, like, if the movie comes out, it's completely different from the documentary. People that see the documentary go, that's nothing like the movie. And there'll be a conflict, like, who's the liar? Maybe. Who's the credible one?
That might be it. I don't.
So the major motion picture could affect the sales.
The cleanest cut would have been had no contract whatsoever with anyone, and then you got with Wells in. But you know what? Wells came after the fact. Melanie was right there. Melanie did it. I bumped into some other, and a guy used to run a steak shop and was doing moves, and he went, Melanie beat me to the punch. He went, I was coming to see him. He said, I wanted it. He said, it's the greatest story ever. I wanted it. So, but you know, it is what it is. The facts are there. You know, Melanie, it might very easily, after they see the contract with the redacted financial part, they might go, hey, not going to hurt us. We have no problem with it. Good luck. Go forward. Might be that. It might end up being Wells going, hey, we don't need it. You know, we don't need it. I think what they're going to come back, though, is say, show the contract with the redactions, see what their
Not
position
saying
is.
the amount.
Yeah, and take out all the financial dealings with you. Then say, okay, see what their position is at that point. If she comes back at that point and goes, well, we're just not going to sign it, you know, then, you know, there are, you know, other issues or for whatever reason, and then it's a decision falls back in Wells again. Do we go forward without her? So.
Well, it seems like, from my standpoint, it seems like everybody is wanting to capitalize on this as much as possible, and I think that's where this is coming in, at least partly.
Oh, of course. I agree with it. It boils down to, you know, money and notoriety. I mean,
Exactly. That's exactly it. And I think that's what the bottom line is down here. Everybody's looking at their side and going, well, you know, this movie, I mean, this is a this is a sensational story. You know, it's known worldwide. And, you know, we want to make the most money from this. We want to get, you know, as much, like you're saying, Hal, notoriety from this. And I think that's what this is coming down to, quite frankly.
Well, you're exactly right. It's two, and I hate to use the term cutthroat businesses, but I mean, they're shrewd businesses. They are successful. Both of them are, because they are shrewd and they look at numbers and they see opportunities, and, you know, it's two businesses, and that's the way, you know, they put food on their plate and do that, and it's what they love doing. So it's two, you know, the one in California is a big business deal.
Well, sure it is, and they know how to get what they need, and you know, they're not successful for no reason.
Well, that's right. That's exactly right. So
right, but you know, then you get the documentary, you know, Melanie's company, and they're looking at this going, well, this could really skyrocket us, you know, into the business even more. So I honestly think, Hal, that's what this is coming down to. I think it's a battle of the wits.
Well, you're right, but from Melanie's side of it, Melanie's work is done. Here's what could conceivably happen. Let's say Wells decides, well, we're going to buy this option. We're going to do it without Melanie. He might go a full year and go, you know what? We're not going to do anything. We paid for the option. We're just not going to exercise the option. You got the right to go sell it to whoever you want to. Melanie's, on the other hand, is out there. Melanie's could get picked up by HBO. All of the notoriety and everything could come from Melanie's side.
Right.
Every bit of it. So it could go either way. Both are true, but the thing I sense with Melanie, I think Melanie's heart is in this. I mean, she can't stand injustice, and she's got a proven track record on that. So this was like the icing on the cake, and not only did she want to do it from a business, she was absolutely outraged by it. So, you know, that part of it, and I think that's why this is going to be a really successful documentary. I think that's why HBO is picking up on it. Someone's going to pick up on this. We're going to see it from her side, I think, for a long time. Remember,
and we will, but see, I honestly truly believe that Melanie signing off on this fictionalization part and just having everything move forward, I honestly don't think how it's going to affect any success she has in the future at all. I think she's gonna have success no matter what.
Well, and I agree with you. I think she has had a lot of success, and I agree with you on that. You know, we just got to see what the thing we've got to also balance here. Remember, Wells is just buying the option.
Right.
Okay. That he does not have to exercise his option. You know, he'll pay for that option, but you know, he has an option and he's got it, you know, for a year, and then remember he's got to renew it, a right to renew it, and we've negotiated all that. He's got a right to renew it, and you know, so that's what he's got. Let's say Melanie takes off and's got HBO and it's got the story out there, and they go, you know what, we can't top this. He might very well not exercise his option. You might not have a feature film come out because HBO's picked it up. Everybody knows the story. If we fictionalize it, we're going to hurt an award-winning HBO documentary. I mean, you never know. This could go either way. So,
I remember when Hudson Hickman came to see me, he was sitting on my couch, and he said something interesting. he said, I'm not going to lie to you, Kevin. I'm jealous that you all are signing with a major motion picture. He said, there's going to be jealousy. I'm a producer. I did, Love Boat and different things. He named some things. But he said, I forgot what he said about, I wished I had something before, but, and maybe he knew some people that could do a movie.
Right.
And he could be involved with it. But he said, I'm just going to be honest, before we went to Martha's or wherever this is, restaurant downtown, he said, I'm quite jealous that you went ahead and signed with, and I didn't know what to say to him.
Right. Well, that's very true. But for inner self-satisfaction, and someone who's been not in bad a predicament as you, but in a predicament like that, the documentary to me gets the facts out there and shows what you dealt with. And that part, and the American public, some of them are smart, some of them are not smart, some of them look at a documentary and go, oh, well, that's just the movies. No, it's a documentary.
And it should scare the feds that we're suing.
It should scare the American people.
Wasn't it Melanie that found that they scrubbed information off the FBI website about my arrest? They deleted a page or so, and then Melanie caught it because they took a screenshot?
They took it down. They had a press release, and then they just took it down. I mean, when it all went down.
We got it.
Yeah, good.
But anyway, that's, I wish, Paulette, I could come in and say, hey, the movie's done. I told you that last time, and I, with all my heart, thought it was done, because we had gone back and forth, and we had given them everything in the kitchen sink. They and their attorneys have had a change of heart for whatever reason on this fictionalization part. And, I appreciate it from the legal point of it. If there's an issue somewhere down the line, they feel like it can maybe come back to haunt them without this amendment, maybe that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Then
I just hope somebody agrees to this one soon. For Kevin's sake.
I do too, and I know Kevin does too. And as I said, this should have been resolved and done and addressed when they first got all of this.
Yeah.
Over a year ago, but they did not.
Yeah.
So,
can I ask you something?
Sure.
Do you think that because of the constant delays with these contracts, do you think that, let's just say by the time this movie is made and done, that it's going to lose interest?
No.
And do you think people will lose interest in it?
Not for 1 second, because not for 1 second, and I'll tell you what, it's such an outrageous act by the government. So many people trust. It's not. So it will never lose interest. People are going to they're going to look at it and go, that could not have happened. But guess what? It did.
Well, yeah, it's quite the story, that's for sure. Kevin and I were talking, and I said, life is stranger than fiction sometimes, and this is absolute proof that, that it's there.
And Paulette, let me add this too, and I only know this because I've got another client that he hasn't been arrested yet, but it's the same type situation. He's being targeted, and I know the guy's innocent on this stuff. But he is one of these, and he's keeping me abreast of, the awareness that is being brought forth against the government and how sloppy the work they do and how they target people wrongfully. And honestly, in fairness to Wells and maybe his partner Tom, maybe they are monitoring, the state of the country right now and the attitude, and they're posturing themselves to do this at a time when all of this comes to light, and people are so outraged, or they're demanding changes in the federal government. I don't know, but I do see that from the other side, and of course, he freely sends me all of that, and and he gets, can you believe this with the government? That's basically where every conversation starts. And I go, yes, I can. I want to promise you the government will do anything in the world. They will kill people if they have to. I mean, the government
they will
do whatever they have to do to operate. And I went, but, they do outrageous things. And, the FBI is not what the FBI used to be. When you start hiring substandard, people, that you get substandard work. That's what you get. So,
sure.
Yeah. So anyway, in fairness to Wells and them, they might have a strategy we don't know anything about, and they're going, hey, at the end of 2015 is the ideal time to to announce this or kick this off. They might know of legislation that's going through. They're in touch with all the Hollywood people, and the Hollywood people have the money to push the legislation. I mean, heaven only knows what's going on and the reason, you know, for this amendment or the reason for the delay. We don't know from his side. So, but anyway, on this end, the minute we get something, we stop. Whatever we're doing, I'll work whatever. We're trying to get this done. The movie part, which to me, again, I'll say it to Stuart Rosenthal, I'll say it to, you know, any attorney I know. It should have been completed a year ago by Stuart Rosenthal. There you go.
Yeah, it should have been done for sure. I mean, it's just dragged on.
If you had an issue a year ago with Melanie's contract, let us know. It would have been a better time than wait till the end of her contract when she's done to ask her to amend her contract.
So I wonder why they didn't point this out then a year ago when they first got the contract from Melanie, like when they got a copy.
Excellent question. I don't know. That's one of my questions.
And why it's so important now. There's something going on. Because when they saw the contract the first time, they're a smart company, right? They're not successful for no reason. They saw it the first time, and it wasn't an issue then, because if it were, they would have brought it to your attention. It's an issue now for some other reason.
Right, and we might never know what it is.
With speculation, we'll never know. They know.
Well, they know. I mean, whatever the reason is, but all I'm saying is it wasn't an issue when they first received the contract. They read it. They would have had their lawyers read it. Everybody would have read it, and it was not an issue then. So for some reason, you know, before they want, you know, everything to be signed off finally, somebody pointed something out or something happened. There's a reason for this, because I don't believe that they had it a year ago. Could have been read then.
I agree, and so I'm back to my theory of maybe as a stall tactic for some reason. I don't know, and I'm back to maybe they know something we don't know, you know, about a timing issue or something. I just don't know. I know.
Well, I feel like, you know, being Kevin's attorneys, the subject of their movie, that they would, you know, they would let you in on that, because you would have a right to know. I mean, I believe you have a right to know everything.
Well, we do, but we can't, you know, if Wells has a strategy, he's not going to share that with us.
No.
At all, because, you know, I just go, if he said, hell, we're going to do the movie, you know, I wish you would pick up the phone and just say, hey, we're planning on doing the movie at this time. I go, well, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. But he won't share that with us. He will share it with, you know, his attorneys maybe, and, you know, and maybe, it's like I said, I have racked my brain trying to figure out why this issue wasn't addressed a year ago, why we're doing it now. You know, is it a delay tactic? Are they trying to get out of it for some reason? I don't think that's the case.
I don't feel that either.
It's a timing thing, so maybe it's a timing thing. And this might all be for naught. We might go back to the office and get an email tonight, hey, we're going to do it without Melanie. So, there you have it. That
would be nice. Yeah, Kevin could use some good news.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just business, and
that's all it is.
We're going to play along with them and do whatever we got to do to protect Kevin and try to get this done. That's all I know to do. So.
Yeah.
Paula,
I mean, at this point, that's all you can do.
Can you hear me, Paula?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna ask a few questions about a few things here. I don't know if I think sometimes you can't hear when we're talking.
No, there's maybe a bit of a delay. Sometimes it cuts out on me.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. But I was researching some federal court cases this morning, and there was a lady in Georgia, I think it was, $1.7 million in punitive damage. She was arrested falsely by the feds because she took pictures of a helicopter on federal property, and she got $1.7 million. It got no notoriety. It did involve the president. Her career's not ruined. Her child's not having panic attacks like my little 10-year-old is. So as far as punitive damages, just get to the guts of this whole thing, because that's what I'm concerned about. I'm more concerned about that day that they call and make an offer and say, what is it going to take to make you go away or make you shut up and get off the internet, quit saying the government's terrible and all this. So as far as like what's happened to my children, the suffering they've done, my little 10-year-old, he came over here a few nights ago, and I went outside to get something out of the car, and I dropped a trash bag, and he jumped like this. Well, he never did stuff like that before. He's not stayed in this house one time overnight. I've had to drive at 3 o'clock in the morning. When he comes to spend the night after I make him a dinner, he starts crying. I want to go home. I'm scared of this place. That this house, this property represents a tragedy for him, and all the kids taunting him at school. That's going to go into my lawsuit. If a woman in Georgia takes a picture of a helicopter and gets arrested for 4 days falsely and gets almost $2 million, what are we looking at? Because my life is destroyed forever. I sent you that video at the VFW. I walked in with those cowboy boots on. Hey, I'm going to sing me a Hank Williams. So I just want to test the waters and see how people react to KC. So I put my name on the board. I walked up. Everyone in the whole place is staring at me. They recognize me. Okay, a girl runs up and says, I used to come here to you Woody. Oh, I just love your Elvis. I said, I'm not going to be doing Elvis probably ever again, but I'm going to be doing country music. That's what I do. I'm a country singer. Right. Oh, well, great. So I sang one song, and I had my phone recording it. And I walked off. I sent you this video.
I listened to it.
And the manager of the VFW, Parker, grabs me as I'm handing $3 to the bartender, just grabs my arm and jerks me around in front of 50 or so people, and pushes me down in a seat like a little schoolboy. And I'm laughing. I'm going, I know this isn't happening. And he's like, I want to know what you had to do with the rising, what part you did, how much you made. I don't give a god blank how much the news said. I'm telling you right now, I want to know what your, and he put his finger right in my face. I want to know what your part is and what you had to do with trying to kill the president, because you're not going to come up in here and throw ricin all over my people, killing my people. That was traumatizing for me. And I laughed because I'm a performing entertainer. I can laugh with the best of them. But can you imagine the first time in 2 years I walked into a public facility that has karaoke, and I can't sing one country song, and he's like, I'm going to ban you. No, I'm banning you. You get out of here. You're not welcome here. That has got to enhance my lawsuit.
You've got pain and suffering, obviously, and that is part of your lawsuit. To show punitive damage, and Christi chimed in, you've got to show malice, and that's where they kept you in jail after the time they should have released you. So that is what we're talking. I've looked at a lot of, done research, and so has Christi, and yes, we've seen it, I've seen it from 1 million, up to 6 million in there for something, So a lot of it depends on what we're allowed to put into the trial and into the court. I suspect very strongly this will not go to trial. I suspect it. But I don't know.
If it did, would it get publicized? Could the reporters be in there?
It'll be very publicized if it goes to trial. It absolutely will.
There's no way they would let that happen.
I don't think they will either. They've got a black eye. I think they fired some of the prosecutors that were over there. We'll never, and if we go to trial, we'll be able to find out, was that why they were fired? And they don't.
And I don't want public record.
That's right. So
what about my career being destroyed? I'm talking 10 years from now when I go and to do a show and they go, oh, you're the guy that did the ricin guy.
Well, they might be, Kevin, you got to look at it on the other side. Once you get the movie out here, once your story is out, here, as I told you in your email, you know what you encountered? You encountered an ignorant redneck in the bar. That's it. So mark it up to ignorance and redneck. Now, when the movie comes out, you might be his hero and he might want your autograph out.
True.
So,
but what about everyone? Like, I've gone nowhere that I wasn't singled out and banned from someplace.
Again, people don't know. And people are scared of what they don't know. And that's that.
I went to the safari with the old property manager.
Where's the safari? Here in town?
Right next to Pizza Hut, here in town. And I was invited by a band lead singer, Kimberly, who sang in Nashville, who texted me. I never heard of this girl. And she texted me and said, I've seen you on YouTube. You've got to come sing Johnny Cash, and I'll do June Carter, and we'll do Jackson, and you can do some more John. I walk into the place, and I always have a witness with me, so I text the property manager that used to be here. She's over at Jumpertown now. And she meets me there at the facility. We walk in together. Immediately the guy recognized, I know who you are. We talk 10 minutes. I finally get back to the table. The band starts. They call me up, and here's what they say on the microphone. We have a special celebrity, the guy that tried to kill Obama is in here. And everybody said, raise your glass if you wished he would have succeeded. Oh, and I mean, it's humiliating and it's stressful. And
again, in the local areas, sure, you didn't have something to do with it, just simply because you were accused. Again, this goes to, we believe in our government, and we believe in the flag, and, you know, if they said Kevin did it, then Kevin did it. It's that mentality. When these documentaries come out to show that the damn government are the bad guys, again, you might be invited in and they might say, hey, we want your autograph. You're a hero. This could have happened to me. It could happen to anybody.
You and I talked about press about a week ago. You said we could put some leverage and some pressure on the Fed by
if we go to trial.
Going to the press and putting my innocence out there. And
if we go to trial, Kevin, the press will be there. Okay? I can just tell you that. So.
Because I haven't had a phone call for a show in 2 years.
Here's what, and Christi will chime in on this. A lot of times you go to a civil trial like this, the judge is going to go gag order. No one talks to the press while this is going on. So very easily could happen. But again, I could be wrong, but I don't see this going to trial. Christi and I like it to go to trial. We'd love for it to go to trial because we show them who they are.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. You've got a federal tort claim there. Obviously, they're not doing anything. They're ignoring you on that. That is sitting there. What's their cutoff date for filing? This.
2 years.
Yeah, I mean.
For federal tort claim.
No, I'm saying, no, we have, when it's April, we've got to file.
Right.
This month, we're filing, unless we hear from them. So, and we've got to do it. And so we file at that point. A lot of times the federal government thinks you're going to go away. They just think, okay,
Why would they think that?
because you got movie rights, they know you got movie rights, they know all that's out there. They go, no, he's going to make money out there. He doesn't want to deal with us. Let's see if they'll go away. If they don't go away, which means you filed a lawsuit, then they'll come to the table.
We haven't filed a lawsuit, though.
That's it.
No, okay, and that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Tort claim has been filed. We've talked about that several times. There is a difference in the actual lawsuit and the tort claim, okay?
I understand that now.
Okay. Before I file or have filed anything at all, first of all, there's, I think, a $500 filing fee, which we're already out a lot of out-of-pocket. I'm not talking about time, but we're going to have some understanding because I'm done with the childishness. I've been practicing law 20 years, and I have never in my life had a client behave towards me. If you have a problem with me, I would appreciate your taking it up with me.
You got to answer the phone to take it up with you. I've called you about 20 times. You have not once in your life talked to me on the phone.
Yes,
why is that?
Because when you first got out of jail 2 times, you told me I have an absolute emergency, and I stopped what I was doing. Once was on a Sunday and once was on a Thursday night. And I left my family, and it was not an emergency. When you do that, you lose your privilege.
What are you talking about? What instance was it? Was I being attacked by a baseball bat redneck across the street?
No, absolutely
was the police here to take me to jail?
Neither.
Because there's been a lot of chaos.
No,
what was it?
The first one was, it had to do with, I have to go back and look at my notes. One of them had to do with Laura and maybe Gable. I can't remember exactly. I've got it in my notes. And the other one had to do with your brother, with Jack. That Jack was saying something at some church and you didn't like it. And I'm like, you know what? We have talked many times. We have sat down. We have now come to Corinth. Okay? I don't make house calls. I don't think the doctor makes house calls. But we made a house call because this has got to be straight before we move forward. So,
I agree.
Kevin, let's talk about this. Let's talk about, once upon a time, there was an attorney who was scared of her client because he made great changes in the system. Okay, I'm not afraid of anybody, and
Nor am I.
May I finish?
You sure can.
And I think the fact that you are not in federal custody shows that.
No, the fact that I'm an innocent man shows that. You are forgetting something. I am a victim to the system you represent and work for. I am tired of hearing, I saved your life. My sister could have walked in there and saved my life. She's an attorney. okay? I was innocent and framed and falsely arrested by a bunch of assholes who didn't like me because I represent a justice-seeking activist of sorts.
Okay, first of all, keep your voice down.
You raised your voice first.
No, I didn't.
Oh, yes, you did.
Now, I've had a cold, so if I'm speaking loudly, I can't hear myself.
You can't come in here and attack me. You know where I stand with this, and I know where you stand.
Shut up.
You have attacked me about the North Mississippi Medical Center. You've defended them, saying, "Oh, I have associates and friends that work there."
I don't even know anybody that works there.
And I don't know anything about my brother standing in a church talking about me. I don't remember ever coming to you about, I need your help because my brother's talking about me in church. I don't ever recall that.
I want you to focus and stay on point.
I am on point.
Okay. Why do you think I'm afraid of you? What great changes?
Are you afraid of me?
Absolutely not.
Or what I represent?
Absolutely not.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely not. What great changes? We're going to answer some questions that I've asked you for a year that you refuse to answer, okay?
I never refuse to answer any question, thank you.
Okay. What federal judge did you have fired?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about several emails and Facebook posts where you say you were responsible.
How do you know I made that Facebook post? How do you know?
Email.
How do you know that someone else didn't post that for me on my behalf?
Email to me.
Show me what I sent to you.
I mean, I don't have my whole file with me, but you said you're
Well, if you're going to bring it up, you need to have it. You need to show me tangible evidence of what you're talking about.
Do you remember saying...
Let me tell you this.
Let me finish.
Finish!
I'm done. I'm not putting up with this.
I think I know where we stand. Yeah, conflict of interest, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. You have come at me since day one and angry. And another thing, you told my ex-wife that she is entitled to 20% of my lawsuit for any child in the house. That's exactly what. And then you say you lost the emails that you accidentally deleted. No attorney accidentally deletes something so pertinent, so important that has to do with my son and the custody between him.
I said to Laura, based on what you had told me, that there is 14% for one child, 20% for two children. That is the law. Now, you gave me permission to do that. But again, I want to ask you to focus. Have you been responsible for a federal judge leaving the bench?
What concern is the North Mississippi Medical Center case to you?
I'm not.
And how do you know anything? Yes, this is about Neil Biggers, isn't it?
Neil Biggers sits on the bench every day.
Well, who's it about? I mean,
I'm asking you. You're the one who told me that you were responsible for lawyers being fired.
I never told you that.
Yeah, you have.
No, I haven't. I wouldn't talk to you about that. You talking about the North Mississippi Medical Center lawsuit?
No.
You keep bringing that up. You keep bringing up Jim Wade in emails.
You keep lying about it.
No, I'm not a liar. Excuse you. I know what I live, and I sit with a room full of judges and attorneys, and they offered me $10,000 to sign a gag order that I would never speak about the body parts I found at the hospital. And then what happened? Jim Wade sent Laura Murphy, who is dead now, in to represent me. And where was Jim Wade, who was representing a $16 million big lawsuit that involves the feds because the hospital is federally funded, a tax-exempt, nonprofit, federal-funded hospital. No one's ever said why they fired me. No one, but they, why would they offer me $10,000 and sign a gag order? I said, no, I'm not going to sign a gag order. I'm going to write a book, and I'm going to tell everyone I know about what's happening here. And then Jim Wade dropped the case that day.
No, he dropped it. There's a difference. You did not pursue the lawsuit, but yet you keep saying over and over that he let the statute run. And
no, I don't. He sent a letter to Laura, to the office where she worked, and said, you have 10 days to answer these interrogatories. Laura hid the letter. 20 days went by, and no one ever did. Jim Wade dropped the case with no excuse, just like I was fired for no reason. I was never given a reason. They just said, we're letting you go.
I'm out. The case, he was allowed to withdraw as your attorney.
Why would he do that in 18 months? After bringing in financial advisors and telling me and Laura we're going to be millionaires.
But that's not my point. My point is, after that, the case was dismissed without prejudice for failure to prosecute and for you failing to obey an order of the court.
What's the order of the court?
That you were to advise the court within 60 days if you were going to proceed pro se or if a lawyer was going to represent you.
Never got that. Never got any kind of notice.
There is a notice in the court where you have signed it that says, it says receipt signed by Kevin Curtis. My point is this. When you say things about Jim Wade, that he did this or he did that, and it doesn't coincide with the public docket, that is an issue. Judge Biggers didn't even hear the case. I don't know where you're coming up with Judge Biggers because he was not.
Judge Biggers asked to be removed from the case due to a conflict of interest. Jerry Davis was asked to. I have the documents in a file that big in my storage room. I have 5 federal judges that asked to be removed due to a conflict of interest. Why is that? How could that happen?
Federal judges.
I have 5 forms that say I, Jerry Davis, I, Neil Biggers. It was one after the other every month.
I get that. I mean, I know Judge Biggers reassigned it because he took senior status. But, I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with the hospital because I very specifically remember a case, the biggest settlement I had against the hospital in the Bone case was Neil Biggers. He didn't recuse. He reassigned your case because he had just taken senior status. Judge Davis heard your case. He was the one who signed the orders and the report and recommendation. So, I mean, there's a mistake somewhere on communication because, I mean, I know what the docket says because I went back and looked at it. That's not my point, Kevin. My point is I don't know anybody that works at the hospital. I've had a couple of children there. I've sued them. That's it. I know Steve Holland to say, hey, there's Steve Holland. I have absolutely no connection to Steve Holland. I have no connection to the hospital. In fact, my father worked 42 years for Baptist, which is I guess you'd say, competitor of the hospital. So when you're making these accusations and you're putting me in a very negative light, it's not very professional. If you want to have an attorney-client relationship, it has to be built on some trust. And for you to say this silly stuff, I have a bad attorney. My attorney threw me under the bus. I fired my attorney. Okay, then why am I here?
Where are you getting that information from?
From what you posted. Or
what?
Or someone else.
I'm not on Facebook.
It's on Twitter.
So you watch my Twitter account?
Absolutely not. I could give a rat's ass. I have a job and a life. I have friends who...
How is that? Is that nice to have a job and a life? I wouldn't know.
Well, get a job.
Really?
Yeah, get a job.
You don't like me, do you, Christi?
Not very much.
I don't like you either.
Well, good.
I haven't liked you for a long time. Let me show you something.
We're good. Get yourself a new lawyer.
I'm glad. You see this? You see that right there? You see my face? I'm gonna make a point right now. I'm on the front page of that newspaper. Let me finish.
It's a free paper.
Let me. I got 20 from 5 states, and this is about a week before the North Mississippi Medical Center fired me. You see that? Front page in Louisiana. Kevin Curtis created double trouble. This is in Bastrop, Louisiana. No, let me finish.
No, we're limited on time.
Limited on time.
Yes.
You're a rude human being. Let me tell you something. I lost my life at the hospital, and you need to think about this. I was making about $75,000 a year in moonlighting as an entertainer and raising children and changing diapers. And I bought my first home, and I had 3 cars paid off and an acre of land. Can I finish?
No, I've heard this crap.
No, you're not letting me finish. Why would I make up some story about the hospital and body parts and lose my business, my family, my music career? That's what nobody's asking.
Okay, I'm going to ask you.
Am I a liar? You have called me a liar one too many times.
We need to quit lying.
You're a liar.
No, I'm not.
Oh, yes, you are.
What are the great changes you've made in the system that I'm scared of?
Let me tell you what changes I've made. You see this, these voice-activated recorders here? See these?
Mm-hmm.
I carried these around back in 2000 all the way to about 2007.
Mm-hmm.
I started making videos of cops making false arrests and beating the hell out of people in Booneville and Tupelo. I posted them on the internet. Wind down in Bastrop, Louisiana, and Monroe got wind where I was born, and they said, hey, will you come down here and do a fundraiser for some people that are being harassed by cops? I went down there and I raised $5,000 singing my ass off.
You sure?
And I bought voice-activated recorders and cameras for victims. I come back down here and I met with Charlene Presley, Bonnie Boyd, and about 20 other people who have been victimized in Lee County jail systems, beaten, harassed, and Charlie Thomas from Florida came down here, the Ethics Commission Director, Cindy Brown, you know her?
I know Cindy.
Yeah, she came down here. We went out to dinner, and they took about 795 pages of my documentation against the hospital, and they said, you have no idea how much you've helped us. You have no idea. You remember that?
And you think I'm afraid for some reason?
I am an activist and justice-seeking that has made people accountable, police officers.
So am I. So why would that...
But don't take away from what I've done.
I'm not taking away, Kevin.
Down and listen to her too. Y'all can both talk, but don't yell.
You know, my attorney threw me under the bus. What have I done to throw you under the bus?
You went and emailed my ex-wife, and you empowered her with information about my lawsuit and said, well, you are entitled to this amount.
Information. I told her what child support guidelines, but she knew them.
She got real cocky, and it caused massive issues in my relationship with my children and her.
Problem. You need to take
It's
that
my problem because you caused that problem.
No, your problem with your children.
And then you lied and said you lost the email. You'd accidentally deleted it.
Your problem with your children long predates me.
Your problem with your husband long
Yeah. Thank you. I gave you his number. He said he would love to talk to you. I mean, he would love to talk to you.
Are you still there, Paulette?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, grow up. Okay.
You grow up.
I don't have a problem, Kevin.
You do have a problem, Christi.
You need to get your head on straight, be appreciative for what people do for you. Okay, are you gonna answer my questions?
I am not. You're not going to put me under cross-examination. I am a victim to a damn life-changing situation. I've been to jail 23 times falsely. I have fought my way out of it. I can't walk outside and go to my mailbox without something happening and the police coming. I'm thrown out of public places everywhere I go. My whole life is ruined, and I'm a victim, and you are victimizing me more now.
But do you think that gives you the right to act a fool and to say stuff?
You're the fool.
I'm done. I'm not representing you.
Let me say this, Kevin. What she is asking, the prosecutors, the United States Attorney's Office, are going to be asking these questions.
I'm trying to look out for you.
They're monitoring you, as I'm sure, to this day, hoping you do something wrong, hoping to catch you in a mistruth, a lie, or something that they can call a lie. That's where she's going with this. And that's why we go back to, if there's a way to stay off the internet, please, God, stay off of it, because they're looking for anything, for you to step on your shoelace. They're looking for anything that they can use against you. That's exactly where she's going with this. Are they going to bring up the Jim Wade stuff? Maybe. Maybe not. They might go, did you say this at this time? Well, this is not true. Is it Kevin Curtis? And you're going to be on the stand with whatever judge it is. So that's where she's going with this stuff. So it's, the more ammunition they have, the harder it becomes for us to go forward and do, and get the monetary amounts we want. If we don't give them, but we've got to get this all clear. We've got to have answers for this before we go into a courtroom. You always hear about an attorney knows the answer before you ask it. That's what this is about, and that's where we're going. I assure you, if we start to go to trial, we'll bring in, love to have Paulette, love to have your mother, everybody in the room, because we want everybody's opinion, and we're going to ask the hard questions.
You're going to have to answer these questions.
They're going to put you on oath, and the judge is going to say.
You can answer it with us, or you can answer it in front of a judge and jury and be embarrassed.
And be embarrassed, and then the judge find against you because he's going, this man's untruthful. And so that's what I'm saying.
How can they prove I'm a truthful when in my mind I lived this nightmare through the hospital? I was constantly going to federal.
Kevin, but when you're saying, I talked to you about last year about being
damages.
real careful
This is about
when you were saying
damages.
all that stuff about Jeff
mother and
But you
stepfather told me.
can't just take that, Kevin. If I say to you that, I mean, I don't know, who's the mayor of Corinth, if I say to you, hey, I heard so-and-so got escorted out in chains and is in a federal pen, you can't just go and repeat that for the truth. You've got to make sure.
Back it up.
Jeff Barber was never arrested and let out in handcuffs. I mean, when you said that, I thought, that doesn't sound right. So I went and investigated. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you can't do that.
The different lawsuits from $1 million to $6 million to $10 million to whatever it is, and that's what we're talking about, the damage.
The difference.
The level of damages that we're going to be able to get to. They don't want you to get a dime, okay? We want you to get as much as we can get. You know, I'd love for you to get $1 billion if I could. You know, somewhere in there, they're going to say, Kevin told a falsehood here, he told a falsehood here. You can't believe him, you know, they just...
How do they don't prove I said it?
It's not hard to prove.
I'm going to tell you from the
FBI's perspective. They've most likely, I don't know for sure, this was a threat against the president, the top right thing in the world, the worst that could ever happen. They've most likely got someone that your taxpaying dollars are paying to watch every step you make, every email you make, and monitor everything. And they got experts. They'll watch everything. I'm not saying your phones are tapped, but I'm saying if you post something, I'm saying they're watching.
It's out there forever.
Or we have to be defensively prepared to answer any questions that could come from that. So,
but how can they prove I posted anything?
They don't have to prove. All they have to do is say, Mr. Curtis, did you post this? If you say I did not,
I can tell you, and you know more about this.
I think aggressive.
They can track, you know, you've got, I guess, was it profiles on your computer? They can track the numbers. So if you sent, you know, anything from this computer, they could probably get it flagged. So anything that comes out of this computer, they can probably sit there and go, well, this came out of that computer, this came out of that computer, this came out of the computer, and they'll have it.
And don't worry about how they can prove it. Worry about mitigating the damage.
I just have a point, but the death threats that come to me from a computer-generated IP address,
they should be
the Frano.
I agree.
I'm going to kill you.
I sent that personally to Jim Hood. I've been Paul Roberts, I think.
I agree.
We can't make them do anything.
You've got national notoriety. There are nuts out there.
Sure.
There are nuts out there that go, the government can't do any wrong.
I hear from them every day.
And I know. And so they're going to reach out to you, and some of them, it doesn't matter if we did 50 documentaries about your innocence, they're going to still think you're guilty. Okay? That's just the way it is. That's just life.
Crazy.
They're going to think you're, but you know what?
Every day.
Who cares? I deal with them every day. Who cares? So,
listen,
you just have
I want you to hear this. You don't hear another thing I say. I do like you. I'm mad as hell, but I like you. You said something that's very important to me. You said you're a victim, and you are a victim. But there are two kinds of victims, and one of them is a survivor. You can be a victim forever. That's not you. You are an activist, and you are a survivor. But part of surviving is zeroing in on where the problem is. I'm not your enemy. I swear to God, I took a plastic bag full of pennies and dimes and had a friend of mine take to North Mississippi Medical Center to pay the last of my maternity bill because I was so pissed off how they harassed the hell out of me over like $40. I am no friend of theirs. The only person that I knew there died last spring. I do not know anybody there. I have told you from the beginning, yes, I believe you found a bunch of body parts.
I have been paranoid. I'm going to.
And let me tell you something.
I thought you were connected with somebody in there. I have been extremely paranoid.
Why not? Why would I go to all of this trouble? It's like you said, why would you go to trouble to make that up?
All I can say, I can't justify every bit of my actions. I can say that since this happened to me, that I'm a different person.
Of course you are.
You always will.
I'm drinking now. Okay, I didn't do that before. I never touched drugs in my life. I never was an alcoholic. I never depended on it. But now I'm having panic attacks when I go into a public place and people are going, and they all come and, oh, you're going to sing us a song. And I literally, like bumps and wets come out on me, and I start trembling. This is not me, because I've been Mr. Entertainer.
Right, yeah.
You know, but I mean, I'm turning to that as I'm self-medicating
Self-medicating.
because I am so singled out and hated and threatened by so many people.
You think you are.
I do.
You think you are, and even to this day, the crap I go through, sometimes I look, people look at you differently, they go, oh, well, they know. They don't. They don't. But, the kicker is what am I going to do? And I've got to answer someone on Skype here in a second. What am I going to do to get my story out? And then, you ignorant sons of bitches, if you don't like it after that, go to hell. Just stay away from it.
When
you are. I know you
you're
are.
staying a victim, you're giving them your power.
You are a survivor.
Staying a victim gives them your power. I saw this man literally on his deathbed with his chest cracked open, an indictment against him. If anybody could have given up,
I didn't want to wake up. I'll be honest with you. When I was thinking, if I don't wake up,
it'll be okay.
it'll be fine.
It'll be better for
Because
my
I don't want to
family.
put my family through all this. I don't want to have to go through all this. I honestly thought, and then I came to, and I was mad as a son of a bitch then. And I'm going to tell you, and I've been mad ever since. I've never slacked out. I will have my justice with those bastards one way or the other. And I mean that. So,
But you're not a victim anymore, you're a survivor.
I'm a survivor. So, and I want you on the attack mode.
And that's where you got to switch your thinking. When you say you're a victim, no, you're not. Because if you're a victim, that means you're down. That means you're helpless. That means they're taking something from you.
They tried to make you a victim. They tried to send you away forever. They did.
Forever.
And there are people in the system that they did that too.
And
those, even after they knew I was clear, they still wanted me gone.
That's right.
It's like, we'd rather have an innocent man gone than to admit we screwed up because we went to his Facebook page.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
That's insanity.
That's where the punitive part of it comes.
The fact, so many people have said to me, just in conversation about this case, well, when it was over, what did they say to him? Well, I didn't say a damn thing. You mean they didn't apologize? Nope. And, I may have told you the story about Bob Norman, who's probably my only friend at the U.S. Attorney's Office, who is as straight as an arrow. And years ago, the U.S. Attorney's Office arrested the wrong man, like John Smith. I mean, literally went and picked this man up in Winston County at Taylor Machine Works, off the line, arrested him on a Friday, because they love to arrest on Friday.
Oh, yeah. I'm always arrested on Friday.
Kept him in jail. Well, over the weekend, his lawyer kept calling and saying, no, this is not your John Smith. Well, lo and behold, they were right. And so Monday, it comes time to go to Aberdeen to Jerry Davis's chambers, and Bob gets assigned. We always call him the fireman because people start fires and they send him in to clean them up because he's got that real good.
Normal guy.
No, yeah, and before he left, the U.S. Attorney, Jim Greenlee, took him aside and said, whatever you do not don't admit anything wrong. So they get there, they stand up, Judge Davis says, what's going on, and the government, Mr. Norman says up, since Your Honor, we've made a mistake, or, we agree this is not the right man, we have no objection to his being released. Is there anything else from the government? Well, yes, as a matter of fact, there is. Your Honor, on behalf of the United States government and Mr. Smith, I just want to say on behalf of our office, I am so sorry. This was such a mistake. Now, Bob got disciplined. He got whatever you get, a write-up, and it's off. But they never heard from that man again. He could have
He
sued
didn't want to
them.
sue him then.
But it was because they were truly remorseful and apologized publicly to him. And that's what Bob always said. That goes a long way. They didn't do that to you.
Wonder why?
Because they don't admit they did wrong.
They screwed up, but they screwed up royally.
Yeah, it's not.
That's why they don't want to admit.
And the press had already just gone with it.
It's because it was so. I mean, they've arrested and indicted innocent people all the time.
This was on the national level. It's exactly what it was. And it just, if they admitted it, probably they would have asked for everybody in there to be fired and let's start all over. And that's why they did.
Right before this happened, like 3 months before, I went down to Louisiana with my mom and Ed, and I did a 45-minute show at the Jim Bowie Festival. Called Paulette on the way down there. $750 for 45 minutes, and they booked me for the next year. And then this happened, and the executive director of the Chamber of Commerce went to the press and said, I had dinner with this guy after his show. he told me that he feared he was going to get framed. He said police were always arresting him, people were always slashing his tires, you know, his brakes went out and he crashed into a bridge, he got death threats, people just hated him, you know. And she said, I thought he was a little delusional, and she told the president, she said, but he spoke about body parts, he spoke about a conspiracy and just so much coming at him, and he felt he was going to be threatened and probably go to jail for the rest of his life. And it wasn't 2 months. And the licensing, Vidalia, it was Jamie Wiley, the executive director. She booked me twice.
I've got a
$750.
That's across from Natchez.
Your stack of newspapers, is this all your performances before this happened to you?
Yeah.
That is stuff.
Yeah, you haven't. I haven't been in. I haven't done anything.
I haven't seen those. No, it's not. It's another thing. But we will need, if we go to trial, we certainly will need that. Okay, to show
the community once embraced me. You know, I was actually liked, and people hired me. My phone rang, and people, hey, can you come out and do shows? Can you raise money for babies with birth defects? I mean, I got so much jobs from the hospital, working at the hospital. I had United Way, the Heart and Lung Association, the American Cancer Society. They all booked me. Every month I was seeing it for $300 to $500 a booking.
We will need that, and we need proof that you did it, and proof of the bookings, and if we've got all that. Then
but the hospital stuff happened after, I mean, you had already lost that, right? That happened after the whole body part. That's when you lost the hospital, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as far as the United Way, I mean, those people are all pretty...
They're all connected, and they never called me again, and I worked 15, 20 years with some of them. I realized the magnitude of the hospital, that, you know, but to this day I haven't been told why I was fired and banned. No one's...
And, you know, you might not ever get an answer.
That's driven me crazy. I mean, I would love to know why they put handcuffs on me and walked me out of there and said, sign a piece of paper stating you were not in the area you were supposed to be in. When I owned my own business. I wasn't like the other workers. And I remember I had a lot of animosity with the other floor technicians because they would say, why, you get to go and come as you please. Why, you get to clock in at 5 o'clock, 2 in the morning, and 3 in the afternoon. I said, well, I'm just different. I'm a different category. And they put me on the ER, and it was the hardest floor of the entire hospital. But they trusted me, and I reduced costs by 30% in 3 months. And they were just patting me on the back. Doctors were bringing me to the Coliseum to be Elvis on Ice, throw teddy bears out to 1,000 people. And they loved me there. That's what was so shocking is they just, you've been talking about body parts. We need you to sign this. You could not be found the other night. I'm like, no, this has something to do with body parts. But to this day, I haven't been told. All I know is no more newspaper articles, you know, no more jobs. And in my mind, I do think it's linked. I do think there's some connection.
And it could be, or it might not be.
You know, there's a guy named Master Gray. He's a 5th or 6th degree black belt in Taekwondo. I used to talk to this guy and have lunch with him every day at the hospital. One day I'm Googling James Everett Dusky, and here comes a picture of this guy I had lunch with every day. Not once did he ever mention Dusky, but this guy was asking questions about my life, my cleaning business, my marriage. And then I guess he was going back to Master Dusky and telling. But I find out through a girl that took Taekwondo from Dusky that, oh, yeah, they worked together, they talked together, they trained together, they ate lunch together, they went to each other's houses. And I'm like, well, I'll be damned. And then it hits me that Master Brian Gray and Ambassador Services working for Les Perry came to me right about 3 months before I was fired and said, Lena Thompson, the head nurse, has been watching you. You're so good with people. You're a role model employee. Everyone loves you. Would you please put in a transfer and come to Ambassador Services? Now, what that has to do with my being fired, I'll never know, but Les Perry came to me and said, fill this out, and we'll transfer you by next week.
What year was all this hospital?
2000.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're looking 15 years of this stuff. So what our focus has got to be is the outrageous government. The outrageous government and what the outrageous government did to an innocent person, okay? And that's what the focus is.
I guess it ties in my mind because that is what made me an activist. I never knew about politics. I didn't know a Democrat from a Republican.
At the hospital, you know, made you irate, you know, and you become more of an activist.
Reactive to.
Exactly, and you know, we know part of the reason they target you and picked you up was because of the, you know, the activity on the internet. And you know, so is it related? Maybe it is. You know, maybe it isn't. You know, indirect. Yeah, I don't know. Is it fruit of the poison tree, as we call?
I think they just jumped the gun. I really honestly believe that John Marshall Alexander saw a chance to really make headlines. And I mean, here's the deal. That Wednesday afternoon, I get the call at like 3:30 that, hey, there's some trucks pulling into the Lee County Justice Center. What's going on? I think Patsy called me. Have you heard anything? I called Robert Harper, and he's like, yeah, it's right. 'Cause we all knew it was going to be a North Mississippi arrest because of Wicker. I mean, obviously, nobody outside of North Mississippi knows Wicker, let alone cares about it. But, and I'm literally losing my train of thought. I think that John Marshall, I don't think he knew these were. I really don't. And one reason I say that is because I think he would have tread a little carefully if he saw, hey, this guy's been tied up in the past with some litigation, blah, blah, blah. I think he would have been a little bit more careful. I think he took that chance that every prosecutor and law enforcement takes from time to time where they're like,
I could be famous.
and I bet, right, and I'm willing to bet he did it. And most of the time they're right. And he followed that gut instinct, and it was just wrong. And
he's no longer working, is he, with it?
No, he's not.
Did y'all know it? Have y'all ever found out why he got fired?
That's what I'm saying.
Nobody inside the court system, everybody kind of knows. I mean, he's like writing titles in the Delta. He's from the Delta. He has 3 kids in college and 1 at home. You're making $150, $160 a year. You don't just retire. And I mean, it was like.
He was right before his retirement. I mean, like 2 years before.
He had long.
He could 10, 15 more years.
Yeah. It was like John Marshall's retiring tomorrow. I mean, it was.
Yeah, it was within the week.
Usually we'll see folks that say, oh, well, so-and-so decided to retire at the end of June. So-and-so decided to retire at the end of the year. And especially if you're a lawyer, if you're a prosecutor, because you have to lead up to it and hand your cases off and make sure everything is in order. It's like he's retiring. It was Thanksgiving. That was it. He never came back. So everybody suspects. I mean, I've always told Hal, I think that Ryson was the nail in the coffin. I think he had already been in the bullseye because John Marshall played very fast and loose with the law. He indicted people without evidence. I mean, just from my cases, and I mean, I don't have the majority of cases, but just from my cases, I saw him do some really sketchy things, and I think it caught up with him. And then I think Ryson, somebody had to.
I think he made the call to pick you up, and that was it. And you picked up the wrong guy. And then they.
How did he know? Did the journalist call him and say, there's Facebook? Because I remember there was a website.
Everybody was
Lady Liberty or something like that on Twitter, and they were like, we're the ones who busted we're the one who's found Kevin's Facebook postings, and we sent it to the feds.
The first thing they do in a situation like that, they're going to go to it's Wicker and the president. They're going to go in your office. They'll go to a spokesman. They go, if you had any suspicious activities, any people coming up here, any phone calls, any emails, and in Wicker's office they went, yes, we have. We've got Kevin Curtis. And it was real easy when they looked at it and
KC.
And there's KC, and they were going, oh my God, here it is. So they went down that path, and they went down it real quick without stepping back and looking at it. And I've talked to some FBI agents since then that are over there that I hired that went, we told them, you might want to step back, this is almost too easy. And they ran them out of the room. And so,
make a note of this, Christi. Y'all need to get the records of my House bill resolution that I sent Roger Wicker about 4 years ago, and he wrote me back a really nice letter saying, what a great job you did, and what level of education did you get, because this looks really good. It was a House bill resolution to regulate bone tissue and organ art. He said, unfortunately, this is out of my area, but you need to contact Steve Holland for this particular House bill resolution. And then I contacted Holland, and he never got, his secretary, I don't know what happened, but he never, ever.
Do you still have that letter from Wicker?
Probably somewhere in my storage. He'll definitely have a copy. I made an internet copy and posted it somewhere. I was in Alabama when I received it. It came in the mail, it was hard copy, and it was real nice stationery. And he's like, "What a great House bill! I'm very impressed with what you've done here." And unfortunately, out of my area, he said, "I'm state. You need to go with Steve Holland. He would be his jurisdiction to do this."
I just, Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever. I don't want any politician, period, whatsoever. I don't trust them, and it's just what I am.
I don't either. You know, and all those pictures with Wicker and Dusky, and no one has ever questioned that. No journalist. Can you explain what this Hall of Fame award you're handing Dusky is in your office, and Dusky's hatred for Steve Holland? And I mean, I had no hatred for Steve Holland. I never met him. You know, his mother tried a case.
There was a knee-jerk reaction. The telltale sign to me was when the case agent for the Rison did not, and made the statement under oath, he didn't even know you had been arrested. Someone else made the call, and so it had to be probably John Marshall about it.
What about the without prejudice? Is there anything? Is that still pending over me?
Not really.
No, it's that. They would not touch that with a 10-foot pole. You know, it could be something if we file a lawsuit that we need to, that we can ask for. It's totally irrelevant. I mean, it really is. They're, on one hand, they're very scared of the civil side of it. They know they owe you money.
Do you think that's why they released me without prejudice? Because they're scared of that? Is there a chance that could hurt me?
No, I think the reason they did that is they are kind of hoping that they were wrong, and somewhere down the line, you and Dusky will talk or something, you know.
Yeah, it happened so quick. I mean,
It was just such a...
you know, at the time they entered the order, it was, a week since they had found it, so everything was still so new as far as, and I mean, I think they desperately wanted to hook you to Dusky because that would kind of save them.
and then they could.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that then they said...
Any emails between me and Dusky where he was calling, you dumbass.
Oh, yeah.
They were negative. They weren't, hey, let's get together.
Right. I mean, that's why it's so bizarre to think that y'all would have conspired when clearly y'all didn't care much for one another.
Well, you know, they'd love nothing better than 6 months down the line.